All right, here we go.
Are you afraid of Heather?
Yeah. Yeah. Is Nal afraid of you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I figured. All right, it is Monday. I'm here with Anna Navarro, but more importantly, Cha-Cha is back, which is fantastic, and dressed for the season.
She is. So I didn't bring her last week.
No, it was really a downer.
It was a downer for Cha-Cha. She
Yes.
was utterly depressed in Miami, but everybody here was peeking into my dressing room going, where's Cha-Cha, where's Cha-Cha? Whoopi was bereft. So I don't want her to get stuck in the airport delays. You know, traveling through the airports has been a nightmare.
This was during the shutdown still, yeah.
Right. Hours and hours of delays and canceled flights. And, of course, this bougie bitch refuses to pee in a pet relief area at the airport. Like, you know, it's grass or bust.
Yeah, sure.
And so we can't be stuck in an airport for 6 hours because she will explode.
And in general, exploding things at airports not a good thing. Nor exploding dogs a good thing anyway.
Even though she is capable of flying across the pond to Europe without...
She can hold it.
She can hold it.
It's impressive. All right. It is Monday. Today we talked about Epstein files. I suspect we'll be talking about the Epstein files quite a bit. And Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Green. Friend of the show, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Green. President Trump withdrew his support for her in a tweet called her Wacky Marjorie and also Marjorie Taylor Green. He said she betrayed the entire Republican Party when she turned left. Are you surprised he did this?
And she said that part of proof that she turned left is that she had come
to the View.
To the View.
Yeah.
Okay, but remind me, his son, Eric Trump Jr., has been on the View?
Donald Trump Jr.
Donald Trump Jr. has been on the View, hawking a book?
Yes.
His daughter has been on the View?
Yes.
He has been on the View?
Many times.
Multiple times?
Yes.
Ted Cruz has been on the... So, I mean...
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, wait till the next time they want to hawk a book and pick a fight here on The View. I'm sure they'll be knocking down our doors.
Wow.
But Epstein.
Yes.
Yes, we talked about it today. We talked about it last week. And frankly, my feeling is we need to continue talking about it until there is complete and absolute transparency and everything gets released. Look, what we saw this weekend and what we've seen since the Democrats released those 3 initial emails, and then the Republicans in Congress in the Oversight Committee released 20,000 pages of emails, is what I keep talking about. Look, Donald Trump wants to make the Epstein scandal a political scandal because he wanted to make it into a litmus test for Republicans who, until now, have followed him down any cliff. But Republicans have resisted on this one. The issue does not go away. We've been at this for months with Trump trying to get it out of the news cycle and to stop talking about it for months and months and months. I mean, we were talking about it over the summer, for God's sakes, and he's been trying to get it out of the news cycle. So the question that this leads to is, why is he so obsessed with keeping this under wraps? And anybody who has read any of the 20,000 emails that were released can understand it. First, there is a lot of powerful men from Trump's circles. All of the New York business finance elite, the Palm Beach business finance elite. That's who Trump runs with. Those are his friends, his associates. There's also a lot of information there that Epstein had about Trump's psyche, about Trump's finances, things that I am sure Trump does not want to see the light of day. He's all over those Epstein files.
Let's not even get started about Bubba. We can't even go there, but that's Google it at home.
That whole thing is insane. But this is not political. There are Democrat names on there. There are Republican names on there. It doesn't matter. They're not on the email chains with Jeffrey Epstein because they are Democrats or because they're Republicans. I remember when the FBI raided Epstein's house here in New York, there was the description of all of the lewd artwork and pictures that were all over the house, pictures of naked women. And, so do not tell me these people did not know what Epstein was doing. Did they know it was 1,000 girls? Maybe not. But did they know that Jeffrey Epstein hung around with very young underage girls in an inappropriate way? Yes, they did.
That's going to be the next phase of this, because if these names come out, then it's going to be, the only defense is going to be, I had no idea, I didn't know. But to your point,
how could they say that they didn't know when the email troves that we are talking about right now, the ones that were released by Congress, those emails are from after Jeffrey Epstein had served 13 months in a sweetheart deal in jail in Florida for seeking prostitution, soliciting prostitution from a minor. It was after he was under house arrest for a year. It was after he had to register as a sexual predator. So, no, you don't get to say in 2019 or 2018 or 2017 or 2016 that you didn't know what Jeffrey Epstein had done. But I think what the defense is, listen, this has been going on for millennia, where rich, powerful men have a predilection for very young girls. There's a famous book just about that. It's called Lolita, written hundreds of years ago. The movie with Brooke Shield. What was that called? Where she's like baby doll or something?
Yes. Is it Baby Doll? Something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a recurring theme
It is.
for rich, powerful men who think they can get away with everything. I mean, my God, it's disgusting. And these people knew or should have known.
Pretty baby.
And they looked the other way because they thought that and you know what the most disgusting thing about this is? It's they were young girls, underage girls. They were also poor girls. Poor girls who they preyed on by throwing $100 or $200 at them. It is criminal, and I think it's some of the names that are on those emails are incredibly upsetting because they are people who live in an elite world and have the respect and fame, right? There's people like Deepak Chopra was conversing over email with Jeffrey Epstein well after he'd been in jail. There's people like Tom Pritzker, the CEO of Hyatt, conversing with him. Larry Summers, who was the president of Harvard University, for God's sakes, where, young teenage girls go to study and have their minds shaped and their lives improved. He was conversing with a known sexual predator at the time. Jeffrey Epstein was well on his way to being completely rehabbed and accepted again into respectable society until the Me Too movement happened, and until, as a result of Me Too, which happened in 2017, the Herald was able to publish the story, the expose on all of those victims of Jeffrey Epstein. But for Me Too, that Herald expose would not have happened because those women, who are now grown women, were afraid to speak. Right. I think Me Too, that movement gave a lot of women who had been in silence for decades, not just about Epstein, about Harvey Weinstein, about others, the courage to speak. And if you read the Epstein emails, he was obsessed with bringing down the Me Too movement and talked about all the men who were reaching out to him to seek advice on how to deal with Me Too and the scrutiny that was being placed on them. And that's why I say numbers matter. And having speaking in unison and sticking together as women matters.
Yeah, that PSA we showed today was really poignant, heartbreaking.
14-year-old girls. Yeah. A lot of these girls were from, the other side of the tracks in Palm Beach and West Palm Beach. I mean, it's absolutely. And for Trump to even be considering pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell.
Which he hasn't said he's considering it, but he hasn't ruled it out, I guess.
Okay, he hasn't ruled it out.
Which is the same thing as
and in the meantime, she's getting all sorts of perks in a country club prison facility.
No, it makes no sense. And I do need to say that just being mentioned in these emails is not an indictment of wrongdoing. Trump he appears in many, many, many emails of thousands.
No, it's not an indictment. It's not an indictment of criminality.
No.
But is it an indictment? Is it, in my view, in my opinion, wrongdoing? Yeah. I think Larry Summers asking Jeffrey Epstein for relationship advice and forwarding him emails that he was exchanging with a woman, knowing that Jeffrey Epstein had been in jail for being a sexual predator? Yeah, I think to me that is wrong.
Sure.
Maybe not wrongdoing, wrong.
So Trump has not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing and denies any knowledge of Epstein's alleged crimes.
He knew Epstein liked them young. I'm quoting.
Yeah.
I'm quoting from 2002, Donald Trump said about Epstein. He's a terrific guy. He's a good guy. And he likes beautiful women almost as much as I do. His are on the younger side. Yeah. Go look it up.
No, I've seen it. All right. Before we move on entirely, I do want to go back to Marjorie Taylor Green for a second, because you talked about it on the show. And I think people are kind of surprised at your reaction to Marjorie Taylor Green, because we talked about it on the podcast a couple weeks ago, that you're willing to give her maybe more than anybody else at the table, really the benefit of the doubt. And I'm curious about this a little bit. Has anything changed? I mean, I will say I saw her on CNN talking about how she apologizes for what she called toxic behavior. Now,
which nobody does in the Republican Party.
It's
rare. People double down on things that are errors. They never admit error, and they double down. So just the mere fact that she uttered the words "I apologize" is kind of huge in politics in 2025.
And your whole takeaway from this has been there's nothing for her to gain by doing this other than...
I don't think so.
Yeah.
As I've told you before, I am very suspect of people who all of a sudden turn on a dime because they're going to sell a book, or because they're going to make money this way, or because they're going to run for this. I don't see what she's got to gain. She represents a district in Georgia that is plus 20 Republican.
Right.
And so the Republican primary basically decides who wins. And if Donald Trump decides to primary her, which he may, she could very well lose her congressional seat. I also think she has, I think there's some issues on which she has refused to compromise, including this Epstein thing. And listen, Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, those women have stuck to their guns with Thomas Massie on, not getting off the discharge petition, despite inordinate amount of pressure from Donald Trump, who had Lauren Boebert to the White House in the Situation Room being pressured by his Secretary of Justice and by the head of the FBI. Shame on Pam Bondi, by the way. Pam Bondi...
Someone else you once had faith in. You once gave her the benefit of the doubt.
I'm so disgusted by this Epstein thing, because Pam is a woman from Florida. And this thing, being an accomplice, trying to make this go away, trying to erase the whole Epstein thing, trying to be part of the cover-up, is going to follow these people for the rest of their lives. For the rest of their lives, it's going to be a stain on their reputation or whatever is left of it.
One thing we didn't get to talk about today, and I'm sure we will later in the week, they're doing an investigation into some of the Democratic names rumored to be involved with the Epstein list, including President Clinton. And Trump tweeted out a request asking for them to be investigated, and now the DOJ is investigating them, despite earlier saying there was no sign of any wrongdoing or anything to follow up on. So it is fascinating.
Again, Trump wants to turn the Epstein scandal into and paint it under a political prism, because he then wants to say that it is a political hoax, an attack, and a witch hunt. This is not political. There were men of all affiliations involved, and some women, by the way. Some women, and shame on them. Very few, but a couple at least, whose names I've seen. This was not a political campaign. This was not political policy. This was rich, powerful men getting away with whatever the hell they want and doing it. He almost did. He almost... That guy was back that guy was back preying on young girls, traveling around the world, holding parlor dinners with very important, well-known, powerful people in his his castle of ill repute here and in the Virgin Islands and other places. Yeah. He almost managed to get away with it.
Yeah.
But for Me Too and the Miami Herald.
Moving on. This week, you will be with former Vice President Kamala Harris. Always cool. Tell me about it.
Not on the Epstein list.
No, not on the Epstein list. Nor are you.
No.
Tell us about what you'll be doing.
So Kamala is, she's got this book, 107 Days, which I think has done very well about her campaign. And she's been doing book events around the country. On Thursday, we will be at the Arch Center in Miami. It is her last book event of this tour. It's part of the Miami Book Fair, and I am moderating a conversation with her about her book.
Oh, fun.
So,
all right,
I'll get to ask her again about the day on The View, and I'll get to ask her. I want to ask her about what Michelle Obama said this weekend about a woman about this country not being ready to elect a woman president. I hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I don't hear from many men. I hear it from other women who I just think are burnt. They're scarred, but by the idea that two very qualified women, for whatever reason, you can list all the reasons you want, but the bottom line is they were two very qualified women who had imperfections and who had some flaws, but they lost against the most flawed presidential candidate in U.S. history. Twice.
Yeah.
Right.
Joy was out last week.
Yeah.
Which was traumatic for me, of course. She dropped her iPad on her foot, and I had to scramble at the last minute to get you on the show. Traumatic for Joy, but traumatic for me, and that's what I care about. You were nearby at a hotel, really very close to the building, and I could not reach you. We couldn't get anyone to answer the phone. I was about to send in several interns to hoist you back. What happened?
I had the ringers off.
You had the ringers.
I wasn't supposed to be here for the live show. I was supposed to be here for the post tape at 10 a.m.
Yes.
I had been on CNN the night before on Abby Phillips' show. She's coming on the show this week for her book on Jesse Jackson. So I had been on Abby Phillips' show. Then my brain stays awake after I finish that show. I don't go to sleep until 1 a.m. And really, I've had a hard time sleeping. It's, watching all of the sadness that's happening in the country, watching, all the people who were going without paychecks, all the people making lines at food pantries, the things that are going on the immigration front all over the country. Those things just weigh on me, and I've had a hard time sleeping. And so I was sleeping late, and
I thought you were out with Ava Longoria or Bad Bunny or something.
No. I had been a good girl. I will tell you, my sleep patterns are way off. I've got to work better on that. This weekend, I was supposed to go to a gala in Miami where two of my very close friends were getting honored. I was very excited about it. I played pickleball on Saturday morning with my niece. My back was hurting. I went to Al's side of the bathroom, Al's sink, and I grabbed a bottle of Tylenol. And, I don't know why men do this. So he mixes the Tylenol and the Tylenol PM.
Well, I don't do that. That seems dangerous and crazy.
I took 2 Tylenol PM instead of 2 Tylenol without having any idea. So I went down for a nap. And when I woke up,
it was Tuesday.
It was 12:28 a.m.
Oh, no.
And the gala started at 7 p.m.
That's not good. That's more than fashionably late.
I'm having all sorts of issues.
I'm reacting to this time change. I know you were unaware the time change happened. I get the seasonal allergy disorder, whatever. I get down when it is dark at 4 o'clock. It is brutal this year. Something is wrong. Am I the only one?
Okay, I told Joy this, and she didn't believe me the other day. It does not get dark in Miami at 4 in the afternoon. It just doesn't.
No, I understand it's not at 4, but it still gets dark an hour earlier than it used to.
No, but it gets dark here very early.
No, yeah.
But I honestly, to me, it's not the darkness. It's not the hours. To me, I don't know how people can be oblivious to the enormous amount of suffering going on in this country right now. And I talk about it a lot, about the need to find balance and, have moments of joy. But I'm talking about it, and I'm trying to do it, but it's very hard for me to turn that off. Look at what's happening in Venezuela right now. I think at any moment Trump will bomb Venezuela just to distract us from the Epstein
I hope
issue.
Not. Yeah.
Well, part of me would love to see Maduro out. I don't care where he goes. I don't care if he chooses to leave and go into exile. I don't care if he goes to Cuba. I don't care if he goes to Nicaragua. I don't care if he goes to Iran. I don't care if he goes to hell. But I also don't understand how on the one an Trump has all of these military assets on the coast of Venezuela and is, talking about an imminent attack on the Venezuelan mainland. And on the other hand, he is taking temporary protective status away from hundreds of thousands of Venezuelans who are in this country working legally because they fled the Maduro dictatorship. So those things just make no sense to me.
It is an odd juxtaposition.
He's changed a lot, though. This weekend, it's like Trump did a 180-degree turn on the Epstein file and released the files. Yep. Obviously, if you can't beat them, join them. He knew full well that Republicans were going to turn on him, which I think is a direct effect of the election losses suffered by Republicans 2 weeks ago. I think he is very weakened by that. But he also did a 180-degree turn on some of the tariffs on food prices.
He did.
Because it finally is getting through his thick head that the affordability issue is not a hoax. It's not made up by Democrats.
People can't make coffee in the Midwest.
Right,
yeah.
And that people are having... And he also did a change on Venezuela where... After sending the USS Gerald Ford and all of these other assets to the Venezuelan coast, he's now saying he is willing to negotiate with Maduro. So it was like a tale of two Trumps this weekend. He was all over the place. And who knows where we'll
be tomorrow.
And he got into a fight with Marjorie Taylor Green, who used to be his boo.
Yeah. So
I'm very confused as to what's happening in his head. Not that I've ever understood him, but I think the election results 2 weeks ago are reverberating all over the Republican Party. I was very happy to see that many Latinos have finally opened their eyes, and many of the advances that Trump had made and Republicans had made with Latinos in 2024 have been erased. There's been like a 36-point shift in these last elections from the Trump result. And it's because they see that if you look like me, sound like me, were born in a country like I was, you can be dragged from the streets without ever having due process, and end up in Sudan or Eswatini or one of these countries in Africa before you even have the chance to prove that maybe you're here, through a political asylum claim or TPS or whatever. So I think Latinos have realized that these immigration policies are racist policies targeting us because of who we are and what we look like and where we work. And finally, they're coming to their senses. It's a little too late on the Trump front, but it's not too late on the midterm front.
Quickly before we go, as we know, you're now a Broadway baby. You go to all the Broadway shows now. Who knew? I don't know what happened either.
It's part of me finding balance.
I like it.
Because like when you're in a theater, you are absorbed, consumed by what's going on at that theater. First, they don't let you have cell phones.
Yes.
So that nobody has a cell phone. It's one of the few places where you can go that nobody's scrolling on their cell phone.
You'll be shamed if you try it.
If you bring out a cell phone, security ushers will come and berate you.
You say that like it's happened to you. I'm just saying, but yeah.
So you have no cell phones. You're not looking at the news. Mm-hmm. You are consumed by the activity happening in the theater.
Yeah.
You're a theater guy.
I am. I really do genuinely enjoy Broadway and Broadway theater, but the rest of my family, my wife and daughters, are absolutely obsessive about it to the point where it's all they think about, talk about, and everything else. And we saw the same play this weekend. My wife and I and her friend Julie all went to see Chess.
So you were the third wheel.
I was the third wheel. I was the enabler. As my wife said, they were the queens and I was the pawn at chess. And we went on Friday night. You went to the premiere on Sunday because that's how you roll. It's starring Leah Michele, Broadway goddess, Aaron Tveit, who my wife and her friend are obsessed with, and Nicholas Christopher, who's incredibly talented. What did you think of the show? It's basically it's competitive chess during the Cold War, and it's an allegory and all this stuff. It's really interesting.
really liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it because, I mean, like Leah Michele and those two male co-anchors, they can sing.
They really can.
I mean, that Leah Michele is so tiny and she belts out
Yeah.
these songs that just blow you away. So I actually thought the singing was wonderful. Again, I liked it because for 3 hours, I wasn't thinking about Donald Trump and Venezuela and Epstein and immigration rates.
Although the main
and
character's
Charlotte.
name is Freddie Trumper.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But it's the reviews it got were not good, which has surprised me. I kind of liked it.
They were middling. There were some good ones and some less so. It's a complicated show. It's been around in different incarnations over the years, and people seem to struggle with putting it together. It's a famous Broadway lyricist who wrote the book, Tim Rice, and there's been versions on the West End that were beloved and ones on Broadway that closed in 2 months. And I'm curious to see how this does because everyone wants to see.
It's also very long.
It is.
I was famished when I got out of there.
Yeah.
It started at 6:30 and it ended at 9:30.
I enjoyed it too. I mean, it's a tough sell on paper. It's competitive chess during the Cold War with singing in a love triangle. That being said, it worked for me too.
There's something I want to ask you about.
Yes.
I saw something on your Instagram, or maybe it was your wife's Instagram mocking you.
Yeah.
You lost a drone in trees?
My youngest daughter, Lily, who's 11 years old, got a drone for her birthday. She got so many birthday presents. She's just getting around to it this weekend. I helped her put it together and went to the basement, as I do. And then 5 minutes later, I get a call from from upstairs. Dad, I lost the drone in a tree. So I go outside and I look up in the tree, and the drone's stuck in the tree.
And you can see the drone.
I can see the drone, but it's in a very high evergreen tree. So I go and I get a football and I try to throw the football to knock the thing out, and the football goes in the other yard. I get a lacrosse ball. It's in the other yard. I get a tennis ball, the dog's ball. Finally, I get a bat. I get a huge foam bat from like a T-ball thing, and I hurl it at the tree. I hit it directly where it needs to go. The drone doesn't come down, and neither does the bat. So now the bat and the drone are stuck in this giant tree. My dog's there, so excited that someone's throwing a ball that they can't get back.
And do you have a good relationship with your next door neighbor?
I used to. I'll have to check. So
have you been able to go and retrieve?
No, I haven't retrieved anything yet. Maybe tonight I'll do that. It's also, last night there was huge gusts of wind. Nothing got moved. Everything else got moved, blown around my yard. But the bat and the drone are still up there. The drone's never coming down. As my wife wrote in the post, it lives with the trees now. It's one with the trees. I went absolutely insane, screaming, cursing, trying to get this thing down. It drove me out of my mind. But
do you think an 11-year-old girl should get a drone?
It was like a basic drone. I think it's okay. She was really enjoying it.
To be looking into people's backyards.
It was less about the camera and more about the remote control flying of it and stuff like that. But yeah, she was just in our backyard playing with it. There's nothing to see in my neighborhood. It's a very boring neighborhood.
White people.
Yeah, that's us. All right. Thank you for joining me today, Anna. Tomorrow I'll be back with Joy and Sunny, or as I call them, Butch and Sundance. We'll see you then.